US Senator Chuck Schumer, the most senior Jewish Democrat, has slammed the Israeli Prime Minister as an obstacle to peace. Benjamin Netanyahu says he will continue to resist international pressure to abandon a final push against Hamas, as the Israeli military plans to move displaced Palestinians to humanitarian islands ahead of the offensive.
In Gaza, even mourning the dead is accompanied by the sound of Israeli drones. Impromptu mass funerals mark the grim scale of human destruction here. Gaza's Ministry of Health says the death toll now stands at 31,341. A further 73,134 are injured. Israeli forces continue to hunt for Hamas. The military says it plans on moving civilians to humanitarian islands ahead of an offensive in Rafah. But where they will be and how they will protect civilians from missiles and mortars is not yet clear. Israel's campaign has now sparked outright condemnation at the highest levels of the US government.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has lost his way. As a lifelong supporter of Israel, it has become clear to me the Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th.
It's a remarkable rebuke from Chuck Schumer, who is also Jewish. The White House says his comments don't reflect their policy. These are the images Israel wants you to see. An airdrop by its military of life-saving aid.
Yes, lechatzim.
And Benjamin Netanyahu, a leader encouraging soldiers in a war Israel maintains is of self-defence and survival. This is also a war that has left al-Quds cooking in the shell of what was once her family home.
We've got no stability, moving from one place to the next. There's no shelter or anything. There's no food, no water, nothing.
She and her husband Ismail have already lost one son to Israeli airstrikes. The family sharing a moment of tenderness, clinging to the normal moments where possible, even if the view from dinner is a shattered street pockmarked with bomb craters. Henry Swartz, ABC News.
Australia will reinstate funding for the UN agency providing aid for Palestinians, UNRWA, after suspending support in January. The pause was controversial and the resumption is too, with the government and opposition split over the decision. Here's National Affairs Editor Melissa Clark.
Australia and many other countries paused funding to UNRWA after Israel claimed 12 of the agency's staff members were involved in the October 7 attacks on Israel. That's been heavily contested, and a clear and incontrovertible case of systemic problems with UNRWA hasn't been established. Based on the evidence it has seen, the Australian government has decided to join the European Union and Canada and reinstate funding.
The best available current advice from agencies and the Australian government lawyers is that UNRWA is not a terrorist organisation and that existing and additional safeguards sufficiently protect Australian taxpayer funding.
Historically, Australia's major political parties try to maintain bipartisanship on matters of foreign affairs. But on this, a clear divide has opened up, with the coalition not supporting the move, wanting a UN investigation completed first and to remain in lockstep with the US.
It should be done only in concert with a key partner like the United States, who have the weight and influence to ensure that conditions are applied and verification processes in place.
The government has been coy on exactly what information it relied on to first pause and then unpause funding for UNRWA. But the dire need to get food into Gaza and UNRWA's ability to make it happen has been a primary consideration in the government's decision.